What is going on, guys? You're listening to the Realest podcast, and welcome to a special edition. Of course, tonight we are giving our predictions for NXT Takeover San Antonio. I am joined, of course, by Andrew Bass and the guy that just shows up whenever he wants to, Chris Chaos. The part-timer is not here, and that being Kyle. Part-timer is going to show up tomorrow.
So I'm just the guy who shows up when he wants to.
Yeah, and Kyle is the part-timer. Everybody has a nickname now.
So I've gone from Chris Chaos to Chris whenever the fuck he feels like it.
Yes. But before we get into the prediction, I just want to say thank you everyone who tuned into our video yesterday, yesterday with Keeping It Real. 645 views to as of right now. That is awesome. Thank you guys very much. And people are probably thinking, this clickbaiting motherfucker. You right.
And Blake said whenever it reaches 666 viewers, he's going to give $1 to every viewer.
You heard it here first. Chris said that.
I was just copying what you said now.
This is false. But what do you guys think of tonight's event?
I think it's going to be an interesting show. There's some matches that I'm really looking forward to. Others I'm kind of going to grin and bear it, and I don't know. It's going to be an interesting night. I think that the main event with Shinsuke Nakamura and Bobby Roode is just going to be glorious. Nothing short of glorious. I'm also looking forward to Andrade Cien and Roderick Strong. I think that's going to be the sleeper match tonight. The match that nobody's going to expect to be good.
With me, I've kind of here and there. I've been really busy lately. I've been doing a lot of stuff, been dealing with a lot of stuff. But all you have to say to me is Shinsuke, and I'm there. So I mean, I'm not totally sure about everything that's going on tonight, but I can tell you that I love Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm not going to give my prediction yet, but Shinsuke, yeah, yes sir.
For me, it's just Bobby Roode. I mean, I'm a fan of Shinsuke Nakamura, but the big reason why I'm a fan of Shinsuke is just because of the fact that they the crowd sings his entrance. I mean, obviously the guy does amazing things in the ring. I thought the feud between him and Samoa Joe was okay. I thought it could have been better, but obviously they had to compete with DIY versus the Revival, which outstanding. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to tonight. We'll see where it goes. As I said before, I do think that this is the weakest NXT card that they've given us.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can do really well with the card, but it's Authors of Pain. I think the biggest hurdle
stand them.
That they have is Authors of Pain, and I mean, you could really say that it's almost the Nia Jax syndrome. The fact that the Authors of Pain, they're the big guys. You know, you got like super heavyweights versus cruiserweights. They're going to be very difficult to work with. I think that DIY is going to do a great job of carrying them, but I mean, they really have to show me that they're special tonight. I mean, They really have a lot to prove. Out of all the matches, I'm looking forward to them proving themselves more.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, I don't think these two, DIY and Authors of Pain, are the greatest. I have not been a fan of DIY and Authors of Pain since Authors of Pain debuted. I thought what they did against Team 6-1 at Toronto was very sloppy. A lot of botches in that match. There was just a lot that I did not like, and I continue to dislike about them. I don't know what it is about them, but, kind of like how I'm looking at the cruiserweights tomorrow, this is kind of their make or break for me.
Yeah, but I really think Neville's going to really impress you.
No, I've always been impressed with Neville, but it's just the cruiserweight division in general has been very bad. 205 hasn't done me any justice at all.
Yeah, and they pumped it a lot too. Like I think they made it out to be a lot more. I think maybe they expected it to be more than it turned out to be.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But we also have to list up one. we also have to look at it this way. It's also still very, very young. Um,
Hmm.
so I don't know. Oh look, Chris is. Oh, we're gonna put Chris on. We're gonna put Chris on. Watch this, guys. You guys want to see Chris?
Oh God,
Chris is gonna be.
I accidentally turned on my video. Damn it, I don't know how to turn it off either.
Yeah. So, all right, Andrew, what are you thinking?
What am I thinking? I'm thinking that I'm thinking I'm thinking that this week is going to be crazy when it comes to pay-per-views. I think we're going to be I think we're going to be happy with the takeover. I think the Royal Rumble is going to possibly surprise us. I ain't going to use the magic word that we're trying to avoid here. But I'm really looking forward to the Fatal 4-Way for the Women's Championship. I'm really looking forward to Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, I can say I'm looking forward to Dillinger and Eric Young, but I kind of have a feeling I know how it's going to end.
Right. Little does Chris know is he is on screen right now. He's just sitting there.
Screw it.
So, like, I'm curious. What is everyone's P break match? Like, which match do you think is going to be
Roderick Strong versus Andrade Cien.
Really?
Yes,
I think it's going to be Authors of Pain versus DIY.
Yeah, I see. And as much as I like DIY, but I can't stand Authors of Pain. So I mean, to me, that's going to be. And mine's not ever a pee break. Mine's a smoke break. So that's going to be my like 3 cigarette break.
Yeah, I think Ty Dillinger versus Eric Young will be very interesting. I think we have to expect Sanity to get involved at some point. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like that's the match that everybody could call right off the bat. Who do you think they would win there? So, and Andrade Cien versus Roderick Strong, I feel like that's the one that most people are going to think is the P break. But I honestly think that it's going to be the sleeper match. It's going to be the match that we think is terrible, and I think it's going to do better than others on the card, or at least one.
Yeah.
One match.
But
Why
let's get right into it. Roderick Strong, Andrade Cien. Who wins?
I say Roger Strong needs it the most, especially if Bobby Roode is going to take the championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of predictable at this point. Andrade Cien is just not going to really be a thing with it. I think the best thing he can do is just prove himself that he's good, or in that factor that he can wrestle. Because the Authors of Pain, I haven't been impressed with him at all from the beginning. I didn't like him when he showed up at NXT Takeover the end, and I still don't really like him. At this point, all he's doing is putting over talent, Bobby Roode, for example, and I think that's what he's going to do against Roderick Strong. And I think the best thing he can do is put up a good match and just go from there.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, like, with Andrade Cien, almost, it seems like he has 1 foot in the door and 1 foot outside the door. Like, he's getting ready to leave soon. I don't think he's liking what he's doing. I don't think that he's really committed to NXT. I could be wrong, but I mean, I just get that feeling from him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how I feel about Andrade, and I know everybody else who listens to us, like, on the regular knows how I feel about Andrade. I never got into him. I don't know what it was about him. I normally like the luchador style. I normally think it's very fascinating, but with Andrade, I just can't get into him.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just his chemistry as a wrestler, the fact that he really just can't generate heat as well as other people, like, you know, Bobby Roode or Eric Young. So I don't know. They have to impress me tonight. I'm looking forward to them impressing me tonight. They have to. If they don't, I'll be shocked. I think they're gonna. I think for the first time they're gonna pull something together, and I think Andrade is gonna have his better match. Probably the best matches he's had so far in NXT.
Mm-hmm. What are you thinking, Chris?
Honestly, I'd like to weigh in, but I haven't been following NXT so much. So on that one, generally, and I hate to say this, but generally you're right, Blake. So on most of this, I'm probably going to end up agreeing with you just because I haven't kept up with NXT the last few weeks.
Makes sense.
Now, I do have a question, though. Now, is Eric Young still with the what was it, Sanity or whatever, the stable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I told you I haven't kept up in a little bit.
Well,
Yeah, but
speaking
they got a new member now,
yeah,
so
well, speaking of sanity, Eric Young versus Ty Dillinger. Is tonight the final time we see Ty Dillinger within NXT, and will Ty Dillinger show up tomorrow at the Royal Rumble? What do you? Me personally, I think Eric Young wins this. I think Ty Dillinger puts him over and then shows up tomorrow.
that's what I think is going to happen. I think, and see, I hate to say it because I kind of agree with Kyle, and this is what we talked about on Keeping It Real yesterday or the day before. Um, I think for Ty Dillinger, it's important that you at least win one takeover before you go to the main roster. And it's a shame because he's kind of in the twilight. Because you know what I said about the Royal Rumble. If he's not number 10 this year at the Royal Rumble, I'm going to be so PO'd. Because he deserves to be on the main roster. He really does. He's so talented. He's so over with the fans. I think he would be the most popular entrant in terms of fan support and how big of a pop he would get if he gets sent over. But Eric Young has a future at NXT right now. You know, he's going to be doing some big things, I think. I think that Sanity is a good idea. I think Sanity is probably the only true faction we've really had in a long time. So I'm expecting big things for them, and I think Eric Young needs to win this match. I think Ty Dillinger could still lose this match and go into the main roster and do big things. So, you know, for me, my prediction is I think that Ty Dillinger is going to do really well, but he's going to fall short against Eric Young.
What's going
And
on?
debut.
What's going on, Kevy? I don't know. Like I'm really 50-50 and when it comes to where Ty Dillinger ends up. I don't know where Ty Dillinger will end up. I really hope he will. I want to see him on the main roster, but then again, you know, we've had this discussion before. The NXT doesn't have a lot of top faces after, you know, assuming that Shinsuke Nakamura leaves soon, and I'm talking like WrestleMania after WrestleMania, but of course we're talking about San Antonio. I'm going to stick with my guns here. I'm going to go Eric Young, especially the fact that Ty Dillinger hasn't won a pay-per-view. Or he hasn't won
I don't
in a
think
while.
I don't think he's won a pay-per-view at all. If you really want to think about it, I can't recall any pay-per-view he's ever won.
All right, sorry guys, I'm back. All I heard was something about Ty Dillinger, and I totally missed the conversation, but I fucking love Ty Dillinger.
So you think he's going to win the NXT Championship tonight?
I think, dude, I don't know. I mean, I love Ty Dillinger. The only thing is, I wish they would call him up, like, with the chance, and he's not going for the NXT Championship. Shut up. I just thought about that halfway through that. I was like, wait a second, hold up. He ain't going for the championship.
You know, this is going to turn into like Jimmy Kimmel or something where they just go around and ask random questions. Oh, yeah. He's going to win the NXT Championship, and he's going to take it for like a year.
He was trying to see. You notice he was trying to screw me up there. No, but like the way I see it, like with me though, with Ty Dillinger, remember what pay-per-view was it where they followed into the actual WWE pay-per-view? Everybody was still chanting 10. It was wasn't it the last one?
Well, I mean, it's everything though. If you really take a look and listen, and if you watch Raw and SmackDown, you hear it every single week. Whenever there's a count out, all you hear is 10, 10, 10, and yes. I love it. But at the same time, I'm like, what number is it? Is it 1 or is it 10?
It is a bit confusing, but that's what I'm saying. Like to me, it would think if he's that over already, then why the fuck not bring him up, you know, and see what he can do? I mean, I know, granted, he's already been there once. He's already been in WWE once. What was it, like 10 years ago or so?
Back when ECW was still a thing, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do very good, but I mean, dude, he's getting over now. And like I said, I didn't want to like Ty Dillinger, but the more I watched him, like I dig him. I really think he could do good this time.
Well, I mean, and in all honesty, and I've said this before, I honestly think his gimmick with 10 is probably as big, or if not growing to be as big as Daniel Bryan's Just Chance.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like, okay, say for instance, all right, you know, 12 years ago, a lot of people don't realize it, but fucking Dean Ambrose was in WWE. He was John Moxley, and he didn't get over with anybody. He had a tag team. He did a little bit on his own, and then he just kind of disappeared. So I mean, sometimes it takes a wrestler to go back down into the minors, to reinvent themselves, to come up with something new and come back. So I mean, this could be Ty Dillinger's shot.
But I mean, this happens to so many different wrestlers. I mean, T.J. Perkins at one point
Yeah,
was on SmackDown, So I mean, yeah, it's interesting to see when you go back and
The Brian
especially if you
Kendrick was
invest
also
in
on
WWE
SmackDown.
Network.
yep.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you go back and see what they look like before and how they reinvent themselves years later.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to our first title match of the night. It'll be the tag team championships of #DIY versus the Authors of Pain. I've already given my opinion on the Authors of Pain. I love DIY. I think that
Me too.
I, other than the Revival, I think the Revival is without a doubt the tag team of the year. I don't think DIY is or American Alpha. I think that should go to the Revival.
Oh,
But because
see that I disagree with you on that one, but go
because
ahead.
the Revival is heels, people look at it differently. So, who do I think will win? Sadly, I think we'll see Authors of Pain win this because I mean, there's no way that they're gonna have and go through with all this momentum to have DIY win,
Just to have them fall out. Yeah.
especially with TM61 going down with I forgot who it was with an ACL tear. I don't
Shane
see,
Thorne,
yeah,
or yeah, I think it was Thorne.
I don't see them, and I think Authors of Pain will be that top heel uh, tag team.
Yeah, but we're kind of in that twilight now because no matter who carries those titles, we really don't have a challenger for each person. We don't have a challenger for Authors of Pain other than DIY. So, I mean, even if DIY retains, we don't really have a challenger other than Authors of Pain for them right now. Because the Revival, you're assuming, is going to come up to the main roster, and they need to be up in the main roster by now.
No, I
But
disagree. I disagree.
you
Really?
you don't think Revival should be up in the
Oh,
main
the
roster?
Revival. I thought you said DIY. Yeah, no, Revival
Oh,
need
no,
to
no, no,
be.
no, 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 no,
The
no.
Revival need to be on the main roster, 100%.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, assuming that the Revival are getting called up and they deserve to be there, we really don't have a heel faction other than Authors of Pain that can really challenge DIY for the championships. Like, the only thing that you could do is what they did during that break, while they were waiting to build up that last match with the Revival, and that's just to throw a few teams from the cruiserweight division in there for the Cruiserweight Classic, and they probably might even go to the UK wrestlers and have them appear. Like, that would be the only opportunity for them to have an opponent because they don't have any other established teams with TM61 on the shelf now. So no matter who wins this match, I really feel like the division's in danger because how long are you going to be able to put TM61 or not TM61 DIY versus Authors of Pain before it gets too boring? I mean, it already seems boring to me. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but they haven't developed anyone else beside the Revival. I mean, with TM61, it kind of throws in a lot of kinks to their plans. I mean, they can't toss them up against the Authors of Pain now for a long time.
Hmm. So, who are you going with?
Me, I think that the Authors of Pain need to win this. Um, it's really hard to decide though because I feel like no matter which way you go, they're still going to face each other. I mean, they could DIY can give them their first defeat, and then they can find a way back into the championship picture. I don't think it. I don't know. I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna say DIY is gonna retain. I think they're gonna shock people, and then they're gonna have another match with Authors of Pain, and then they'll win it.
So you think that they're going to give Authors of Pain their first loss to DIY tonight?
I think so. Yeah, because
As much
I
as
don't
much as I
think
would like, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, as much as I would like to see that, just because I don't like Authors of Pain, I'm kind of going with Blake on the whole. Giving them the momentum. Why would they make them lose now?
I feel like if they made them lose, the reason for that is they're giving DIY more credibility.
Right. I mean, that makes sense. I just like with me. I mean, I don't want to see them win, but I have a feeling that the Authors of Pain are going to go ahead and take it.
But I mean, I want to see what the Authors of Pain are going to look like if they are defeated.
Right.
That's what I want to see because sometimes they're not as entertaining, especially those big guys when they lose. Like that's the thing I'm worried about with guys like Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is very appealing to me right now, but what is he going to look like after he loses? And that is the key because Great Khali, he was like super dominant, and then he lost for the first time, and
He
then
was
he
also
became
too tall for himself.
Punjabi Nightmare.
He was so clumsy. It was just one of those things that he was so tall that it made him clumsy.
Yeah, I just don't want to see the big guys get messed up. And I mean, Authors of Pain, they're young. They might grow into something that we really enjoy.
I'll
They
tell you
might.
this: the biggest guy I've ever been a fan of is Samoa Joe.
Really?
That's the
Yeah,
biggest
but
guy I've ever been.
Samoa
Or
Joe,
Kane.
I was just say
Samoa,
Kane is like your favorite of all time.
yeah, but Samoa Joe and Kane have one thing that other big guys don't.
They're athletic.
They're
Big
very athletic.
penis. Oh,
They're very athletic. They, they go up and do crazy things. Samoa Joe is very flexible. He's very quick. He can hit you hard and overpower you. Kane, when do you see like a huge, 7-foot monster or 6-foot monster, whatever he is, climb the top ropes like that, 200 some pounds, and fall and crash on you? It's just even at his age, and he still does it. You know?
I'll be going over Kyle's predictions after we give our predictions for the show, but let's go with the NXT Women's Championship. Asuka defending her title against Nikki Cross, Billie Kay, and Peyton Royce. Does Asuka stay undefeated and beat the three women, or basically the top three heels in the division? Or does Nikki Cross win? Does Billie Kay win? Does Peyton
Okay.
Royce win?
So here's my prediction. Because I've been thinking about this long and hard. If Asuka is not pinned, she is not. She is no. She's still undefeated in my eyes. I couldn't
disagree.
say that she's been defeated. I know you disagree, but for me, I feel like what they might do to carry Asuka through it is do what they did with Brock Lesnar, in order to preserve that like badassness. They can have her lose that championship by having someone else get pinned.
and then it doesn't take
Like
anything
Nikki
away
Cross,
from
Peyton
her.
Royce. Yeah,
Right.
because now she's going to be out for blood come the next night. So I mean, it would be interesting to see her lose the NXT championship because somebody else gets pinned. And
Right.
with all the people that are involved, I can easily see something go down where Peyton Royce and Billie Kay steal something out from under her by screwing her over. Where Peyton Royce might take one for the team just for Billie Kay to get in there and pin Nikki Cross. I could see it happening. So like that's my thing. I think it's either going to be Billie Kay or Peyton Royce are going to walk away with the NXT championship, and I hope if they do that, they don't do what they did with the Divas championship back on SmackDown. I don't want them to join it, like do the Freebird rule with it. No, it's one or the other, and I think if it's one or the other, it should be Billie Kay out of the two.
See,
That gets involved.
I don't think Peyton Royce or Billie Kay are going to win. I think what's going to end up happening is I think they're going to start their own feud. Those two are going to get into it because one of them's going to pin one, and it's going to turn into a fight, and then that starts their feud. I think out of all the four women, Asuka and Nikki Cross are the only two that has really a big potential. Well, I say that. I think Asuka will retain because it makes zero sense to have Peyton Royce or Billie Kay go for it and win because, I mean, why would they? I don't. Like with Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, I really don't like that they call themselves the WWE Universal Champions. It's like, then what's your prize? What's your point? When you're competing like you do, your goal is to be the best. I don't like when factions do that or best friends. So
Yeah, but I mean, my point, you could possibly see something like that because it has been done before. Where one might fall on the sword so the other one can get the championship.
Well, I think I don't think Asuka loses to any of these three women. I don't think that these are the women that's going to give her first loss. So
I don't see it either.
Well, who would give Asuka her first loss out of the women?
I would.
I mean, if you want me to be honest with you, I would say Nikki Cross, but I would save that for a one-on-one because I think what Nikki Cross is doing is outstanding.
So, what about Nikki Cross wins, beats pins one of the two, Billie Kay or Peyton Royce, starts a feud with Asuka, and then it's her versus Sanity, and she could be the one that finally beats her.
No, I don't like it because I think if Asuka, even if she doesn't take the pin, I still think it makes her look bad.
You think? I don't know. I mean, would they do it with Brock Lesnar? It didn't make him look bad.
But Brock Lesnar and Asuka are two different people.
Well, they're building Asuka up like Brock Lesnar though. That undefeated monster.
Well, if we're going to say that, then Bobby Roode's the same way. I mean, you could say the same thing for Shinsuke before he lost to Samoa Joe.
but it took a monster to beat a monster.
But I mean, Asuka, I think it makes her look bad if she loses in general. I think in a fatal 4-way, it makes her look bad. I think she needs to lose a 1-on-1. And out of the 3 women in this match, if it was a 1-on-1, I would say Nikki Cross. And eventually, I hope Nikki Cross does take it from her. But I don't see anyone beating Asuka in this match. I think it's going to be one hell of a match, and it's going to be one of those really close pinfalls. But
I mean, like, if you want to be safe, I'd say Asuka's the bet because she hasn't lost yet.
I'm not even trying to
But,
play it safe.
you know.
I'm just giving you what I think and what I think WWE is going to go. Like, I think Billie Kay needs to prove herself. I don't think with the way she wrestled at Brooklyn, she needs to prove herself. She did not do good in Brooklyn at all. And she needs to prove herself at a takeover. Nikki Cross has done great things since she's joined Sanity. Peyton Royce, she's kind of just been there, and all they've done is just take people out backstage. And then go off and say, we run this place. So that's where I'm looking at it. I think that this is a, put up or shut up type match for each of these women. I mean, Asuka really doesn't have anything to prove, but for the other 3, it's put up or shut up. But let's move on. Let's move on here. Shinsuke Nakamura, main event of the evening. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Bobby Roode.
Shinsuke!
Andrew.
Bobby Roode.
Now, the only reason why I'd agree with you on the Bobby Roode thing is because I really think they're going to bring Shinsuke up. Only way to do that is to take the title from him. I love Shinsuke. I would love to see him win. But if he loses, then to me, that almost guarantees that they're going to pull him up for either the Rumble or WrestleMania.
Bobby Roode wins. Shinsuke will not be at the Rumble or anything like that. He'll stay in NXT. He'll continue to feud with Bobby Roode until the WrestleMania Takeover event that'll happen in Orlando. Bobby Roode will win that again, and then either the Monday Night Raw after, we'll probably see Shinsuke Nakamura show up. Because we've had this discussion before, and that's just the way I think, and it also gives time for someone to really build their name, cough, cough, Roderick Strong, to come up. And it also gives opportunity to someone like Ty Dillinger, because there really isn't a top face right now other than Shinsuke Nakamura, and his main roster debut is long overdue right now.
I agree with that completely.
So, before we do go, let's give the part-timer Kyle's, let's give his predictions out. And this is what he is saying. He thinks for the main event, Bobby Roode will win, keeps it, and he'll start the #Glorious Era. Asuka retains her title to stay undefeated. Ty Dillinger beats Sanity, which I disagree with. Roderick Strong wins, and #DIY somehow retains their titles and hand Authors of Pain the first loss, and confirm that DIY is the real deal. So, Andrew, what do you think? I'm going to put the question out there for everyone. Is NXT TakeOver San Antonio better than the Royal Rumble?
I'm going to go with yes.
Ooh.
I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to say yeah.
I always say no, and I'm going to stick with my gut, even though most of the time I'm wrong, and I'm going to say no. I think at least the freaking Rumble should freaking eclipse NXT. At least one of these freaking pay-per-views needs to eclipse NXT.
I'm gonna have to say that NXT will probably be the weaker show of the weekend. I'm actually gonna go with the Royal Rumble being the top show, and that being because every match in the Rumble will be a title match, which has the capability of being outstanding. Like I said, and even though this isn't the prediction show for the Rumble, I think that the Cruiserweight division, this is their make or break match. I think that Neville's going to tear the house down. I think that'll be the match of the night. The women, Bayley and Charlotte, I think that'll be great. Kev says, I don't know, that's hard for me because I think the Rumble is going to be lit. I guarantee you Chris agrees with you.
Yeah, I do totally.
I think Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns will be the weakest match of the night, sadly. And I'm not just doing that because I don't like Roman Reigns. I just think we've seen them wrestle so many times now that it's just gotten to a point where it's like, eh. And I think that John Cena and AJ Styles are going to tear the house down like they have 2 times now. This will be the third installment of this of their feud. And then the Royal Rumble, 8 spots are open. We don't know who's going to win the Rumble. It's still so up in the air. Last year, you really had an idea who was going to go for it and who was going to win. This year, it's like, well, this guy could win, but wait. No, wait, this guy, wait, no, wait, and it's just like, you don't know. So I think that's why the Rumble would be better than San Antonio, and then again, I think this is the weakest card that NXT TakeOver gave to us. It's not even a bad card, I just think it's the weakest card. So we'll have to see.
Well, I mean, not only that, but you got to figure the Rumble, dude. This is like the one of the most star-studded Rumbles they've had in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, just that alone, just the Rumble in itself, not even counting all of the other matches, the Rumble in itself, I think, is going to completely eclipse NXT.
It could. It has the possibility to, but at the end of the day, what will make or break the Rumble is who wins.
Right.
So it really depends on who wins the Rumble. Andrew, so you're going to say NXT, huh?
No, I'm going to say Rumble.
he heard the voice. He heard the voice of reason.
No, that's what I said before. I'm going to go with Rumble. I'm gonna take the high road and go with Rumble because I don't want to say the magic word, and I feel like as long as we don't say
the magic word is potential.
Yeah, don't say that. As long as we don't say that it does, then I think Royal Rumble is going to be a better pay-per-view. So
yeah, I mean we'll have that discussion tomorrow night. But before we do go, be sure to tune in immediately following NXT Takeover San Antonio. We'll be live with our thoughts, and we hope to hear from you guys immediately following NXT Takeover San Antonio. Also, tomorrow we'll be live with a special start time of 3 p.m. Central. Yeah, I moved it back even more. No, I have to keep it at 4 because I forgot. Andrew will be busy, and I did promise him to do something. Totally forgot about that before I moved it back. I'm glad I didn't. So it's going to be 4 p.m. Central tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. And
hey, and I got a shameless plug, too.
Wait, time out. Wait, was the thing that you did, was that today? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. It's going to be 3 p.m. Central tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. And that is 1 o'clock Pacific time for anyone that is on the West Coast. We'll be giving our predictions for the Royal Rumble. The only reason why it's going to be that early is because we actually have to watch the pre-show because there's going to be a title match, which stinks, but, I mean, we have to. And then immediately following the Royal Rumble, we'll be live, and we're either going to be really happy or really mad. Most of the time, it's really mad, so if you like hearing people get mad, then that's going to be the perfect show for you. Now, Chris, what do you want to plug?
Oh, I was just going to say, I've had a lot of people asking me when I was going to do another episode of this week.
All right, and then we're going to end the show. No, go ahead.
I'm going to slap you. No, I've had a lot of people ask me when I'm going to do another episode of This Week and Everything with Chris Chaos, and I've been trying to do pre-produced shows, but tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and do just another live show. And I actually had a suggestion from Andrew as to the topic, so tomorrow's topic is going to be stuff. So, that's going to be the topic, stuff. It's literally
stuff.
Anything we can think of to talk about in pop culture, we're going to talk about it. I'm not sure the exact time. I guess we'll just have to figure that out, and y'all stay tuned and look at all the pages, and maybe you can tune in.
By the way, the part-timer will actually show up later after this for the after show. The part-timer is going to show up. So until later tonight, be sure to tune in and be sure to have a great time watching NXT TakeOver San Antonio. Hopefully it's going to be great, and hopefully you guys tune in after. That way you can hear what we thought or think about the show and give our thoughts. Shut the fuck up. And I'll talk to you guys until later tonight. Peace out.